How did your journey into the junk removal industry all begin, and what made you get into it?
Well, that's a great question. I've always loved junk. Just back in the days, me and my dad used to go around and just, on a Sunday night when they put trash out in Miami, we'd go around, find some good junk and, take it home, fix it up, put it in our house, sell it, whatever. And then actually later on in my end of my high school years, my now wife, me and her used to do the same thing. I mean, we actually funded an entire road trip across the country just with stuff that we've gotten junk and everything else. So I've always loved junk. So when I moved to Georgia and I saw an advertisement for 1-800 Got Junk hiring, I went in there. I was actually excited to actually get paid to find junk.
Very nice. So tell me a little about 1-800 Junk and what was your part of it, and how long were you working with them?
Yeah, I was actually with them. I was with the Atlanta Northwest franchise for 10 and a half years. You know, we, yeah, 10, we started off, it was, a mom and pop place. It was started off, it's kind of a small location. Even though they were doing 800,000 a year, they only had three or four trucks and, a couple guys. And so, when I saw that opportunity, I have a background in operational management. So I'm like, well, this is going to be easy in compared to what I used to do. So, I jumped on that and it was a lot of fun. So, hauling junk and getting paid for it just seemed like a cool opportunity.
What were some of the most important lessons you learned while working at 1-800 Junk that you still apply in your business today?
Well, the funny thing is, as far as lessons that I learned, the first 7 years I was working there, I really didn't learn much of anything, apart from the same, every franchise is a cookie cutter training. We had a 2-page, 10-day training that they did for everybody. And most of the franchises, every franchise is not created equal. I have to say that right up front. Some of them wouldn't even do the training. They just throw them on the truck and say, learn from this guy. He's been here a while. So, learning different things I've learned over the years, how to apply and, but none of that really mattered. I really didn't pick up any lessons. Everything that I learned started after the seventh year. I had a change in my own life. I got that dreaded phone call from my doctor telling me, "Hey, Mr. Hess, I'm sorry to tell you, you have cancer."
Wow.
So after that, everything changed. My whole mindset changed. One during that whole ordeal, one of the vice presidents from 1-800 Got Junk, he actually was our regional operation manager for a while down this way. And, he had been promoted up to a vice president. And he called me during that. And we just had a long heart to heart conversation. And, I told him that, everything has changed for me. I need, because not only, getting over the cancer, but I also was diagnosed with Lynch syndrome, which makes it's a genetic disorder which makes me highly susceptible to other cancers. So in my mind, my you know I have a limited time to do something with my life, for me, for my family. And so I kind of had a heart to heart with him, and I asked him to give me some straight, honest to goodness feedback. And he told me that yes, I was probably one of the best managers that he's ever seen in the system. And I told him, I said, well, what is it that I'm doing, that I can improve on? And he told me, you can be, you're a great manager. You're good at managing the processes. You're good at managing the business, but you're not great at leading the people. That's something that you can really improve on. And I took that to heart. And from that day forward, I started, you know, finding leadership podcasts. I started reading a lot of leadership books, and, those were the lessons that I learned from them on that changed everything. It changed the momentum of my own careers, and, not only that, but the franchise itself.
So year seven and all, you get this bad news, and now you start learning how you can improve yourself. So how do you what do you change? Like what was like day to day? What did you start implementing for 1-800 Junk that you weren't before?
I started, well, one, I started really applying goal setting, not just, typical goal setting, but OKRs, objective and key results, which are the goal setting process that, companies like Google, Apple, Netflix, all these big industries utilize this goal setting process to help them, really achieve their goals. So I started doing that for myself, and it was really, really effective. Not only that is, doing one-on-ones with my guys, really learning about them personally, and what I can do to help improve their lives, not just talk about performance. It's not just a meeting about performance and, hey, you got to do this. um, it the difference between actually being a leader and a manager is a manager tells you, okay, you need to do this and improve. As a leader, I have them tell me what they need to do to improve, because they already know the expectations. So teaching them how to look at those expectations and actually learning from it and telling me what they need to do. But those one-on-ones were really important because I found out what they actually wanted to do with their lives, not just within the company, but apart in their personal lives, their professional lives, and what I can do to impact that.
And did you see a big change now in the numbers for 1-800 Junk for the franchise you were working for in those 3 years?
Well, yeah, God, that's an understatement. So when I began with 1-800 Got Junk, like I said, they were a smaller franchise, even though they were doing $800,000 a year. And in those 7 years up to that point, we had a slow creep up to 2.5 million, which you look at that and like, hey, that's great. But after I started developing myself as a leader and seeing that impact how the business was run, I really set up some real training and development, not just like that 2-page, 10-day training, but like real training that took up to 3 months. And from there, that first year, we went from that 2.5 to 3.5 million.
Wow.
And then after that, I saw this success and I'm like, wow, this is making me feel great. I'm really changing the way I do things. And by being a leader, I'm really impacting the business. Now I feel like I have some sort of purpose. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, what would happen if I started developing my team as leaders? What if they feel that same thing that I'm feeling, that same passion, that, really seeing the vision of the business? What if they saw that? So I started developing my team as leaders and really empowering them to do more. And, because doing those one on ones with them, I learned a lot of them really wanted to do something more than just picking up junk and collecting a paycheck every week. So I started developing them as leaders. I stepped up our training and development program. I really started empowering my guys. And then that next year, we went from that 3.5 to $6 million.
Wow.
Then we come up to 2022. That day, January 2nd, I remember that day. I walked in there and I had an all hands meeting with my guys. I had everybody come in and I set up goals for the year and things that we wanted to do. And one of those was to be franchise of the year. We're going to be number one ranked top performer. We're going to be franchise of the year. And not only that is I'm going to create a legacy. I'm going to make sure that a lot of people, I promised three that we're going to move forward in the business. And that was my goal for that year. And even my district manager told me that, oh, that's great. That's a great BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. I said, no, that's not a BHAG. That is the goal. And I had everybody on board, everything, all the boards around the office, every text message, every email had hashtag FOTY 22, franchise of the year 22. That was what it was. And that year, everybody was on board. Everybody saw the vision. Everybody bought into that vision. And by that end of that year, we went from that 6 million to $9 million.
Oh my God. Wow.
Now that I've really stepped up the development of my guys, let me tell you, we had a morning meeting every single day. Very rarely you heard me talking in that meeting. My voice, if you're holding those meetings every day, your voice becomes stale. But when you have your guys actually go up there and hold the meeting, setting up the goals for the day, talking about the numbers that we did the day before, them standing up in front of their peers empowered them to do more. They wanted more. And for them, it was really empowering. And they felt like a leader, and everybody watching them wanted to be them. So everybody started really stepping up their game. Everybody wanted to do more. We put people in operations. We moved people into, we built a really strong training and development team that a lot of people wanted to be involved with. They would come in 30 minutes, an hour before their, time that they clocked in, to help other people train and to do training. Even though they were off the clock, they didn't care. This is what they wanted to do. And they really saw that vision. They really wanted that franchise of the year. They really wanted to be that top performer, and they wanted to be every single part of that growth of the business.
That's amazing. And want to shout out Sonoma Strong Hauling and Junk Removal. They're in the chat. They said, "What up, Junk fam?" So, did you hit that goal for 2022? Were you guys the franchise of the year?
We were franchise of the year, ranked number one top performer out of 175 franchises, the franchise of the year. And as far as moving people forward, not only did we move probably 10 guys within that business, but I sent my lead trainer to one of the other the Atlanta franchises, and they were doing so well that the other Atlanta franchise, because there was three Atlanta franchises, the other one needed help with training too. So the next guy that up, I sent him down there to help train. And then we had Grand Rapids, Michigan called me and was, they were trying to find out about our operations, how, we were doing so well and everything else. They really were weak in their operations. I talked to my lead operations manager, and we sent him to Grand Rapids, Michigan with an opportunity to become a general manager and be an actual partner in the business. Then, one of my lead, in Naples, Florida, they were struggling with their training. I sent my next lead trainer off to Naples. Another company was taking over Jacksonville, Florida. I sent one of my guys down there. He became the new general manager. And there was just a lot of moving parts, a lot of people moving forward, that I started a wall on where I had everybody's picture there that was moving off, called my legacy wall. And I put their picture up every time. So the more pictures I put up there, the more people I moved forward, the more people bought in, the more they wanted that. So they stepped up their game. They really wanted to move forward in their careers. And so many people did it that year. I had promised 3, but I ended up being more like 15, you know. But I have started really filling up that legacy wall. And to me, that was more important than anything, because being able to move people forward is something, that you do as a leader, that impacts everybody's lives, the lives around you. And that's what it means to be a leader, right? Leadership is being in servitude of others. And me actually impacting their success is the best feeling in the world.
Now, I know that you won franchise of the year and all, but were you reaping the benefits as well financially? Were they taking care of you for building such growth so fast?
Well, I tell you what, once we started really building that growth and seeing that scale up, my my salary doubled.
Uh,
And then it went, farther we went, the more it went. To be quite transparent, I was making $150,000 a year.
Very nice, very nice. Now, what motivated you to start Survivor Junk Removal, and how has the experience been different from your 1-800 junk experience?
Well, we were having so much success, and the growth was so phenomenal. Not only were we growing, but the help we were giving to the other Atlanta franchises, they were growing as well. So the owners decided that, because they were all owned by the same franchise, the same company that was out of Kansas City, um, they decided to bring in an area manager, and we were not on the same page. You know, he as much as the company promised they didn't want the direction of being a corporate entity, the more they grew in their other businesses, because they own, not only did they have several junk 1-800 got junk removal, they had moving companies, they had a lawn care company, and they were you know kind of pivoting towards other home services as well. So they brought in this area manager, and he started making a lot of changes, making it more of a corporate atmosphere, and didn't like a lot of the things that I was doing. He wanted to focus more on saving money than generating revenue. And just there was, he wanted me to cut back a lot of the leadership development and just focus on training guys to go haul junk. And it just it wasn't, you know, after the year before we won franchise of the year, you know, uh, we weren't eligible for franchise of the year before because of the new ownership. So we had to wait till a full year of ownership before we can become eligible. And we could have won a lot of awards that year, but because we weren't eligible, we weren't able to do that. So the corporate office actually sent somebody down there to interview me, right? And he was asking me a lot of questions on, the success for that year and the fact that we weren't eligible to win any awards. And one of the questions he asked me was, he's like, "Look, I feel really silly asking a grown man this question, but what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I sat and I contemplated that for a while, and I said, "Look, if you would have asked me this at the beginning of my journey, the answer probably would have been I want to be successful. But the closer to success I get, the more I realize I'd rather be significant. I want to have value to other people." So to me, taking that away from me was huge, because I was creating a legacy, because I did it for personal reasons, because I know my time on this earth is limited, and I wanted to create a legacy. And to take that away from me, I realized that now might be the chance to create my own legacy in my own life. So I went again and started to set goals for myself. So about 18 months ago, I set three really big, hairy, audacious goals for myself. I said, one, I want to start my own business. Why? Because I tried many, many times in the past and I have failed every single time. Number two is I wanted to write a book. Why? Because I've tried a couple times in the past and I have failed each time. Those are two things that have really irked me that I haven't done in my life. So I said, you know what? This is the time I'm going to do it. The third thing is I want to tell my story to a big audience. I want to actually talk and inspire others to do more, because that was my favorite part of my job, was actually teaching these young guys to and inspiring them to do more with their lives. And I wanted to do that on a big platform, which on October 25th, I finally get to hit that third goal, thanks to Matt and JoJo. So, these are three things that I really wanted to do with my life, and that's going to create my own personal legacy. I did my legacy. I created that with 1-800 Got Junk. Now it's time to do it with my own personal life.
And just for you guys in the chat and all, what Kevin's talking about, October 25th, is we got the Junk Expo going down in Roanoke Park, California, set up by Sonoma Strong Hauling and Junk Removal. That's Matt Vick and JoJo Vick. They've got a full panel of just top in the industry speakers, Kevin being one. I'm also going to be part of that. Forget About It. Junk Removal is an official sponsor. I'm going to be bringing over my truck that's going to be freshly wrapped. I'm literally working it out right now to get everything wrapped and done by that day and all. So, guys, definitely check it out. Unfortunately, though, the tickets are sold out. I've been telling everybody for the last month, make sure to get in touch with Matt Vick because they were running low on tickets. And I know 2 days ago, the official banner went out and it said they are officially sold out, which this is amazing. And I'm hoping that they're going to be doing this more often and all because I think it's been a great success so far. We got so many people coming from all over the country, just an amazing, amazing networking experience. And just be there with your notebook and pen and just kind of take notes on all these great speakers that'll be there. So, very, very excited about that. But I want to get back to, how you started Survivor Junk Removal. When was the actual start date? When did you open that up?
It was actually September of last year, so we just hit our 1 year mark.
And what did you start off with as far as vehicles and all? So I know you have 10 years experience on the 1-800 junk and all. Did you go with the same kind of setup as them, same kind of trucks? Like, where did you begin?
Well, I wanted to go that way, but unfortunately, when you're first starting out, I didn't have the funds to do this because, of course, in the back of my mind, there's always that, nagging at me, am I going to fail this time like I did the other times? So I started off with a pickup truck, and I didn't want to go the route of the dump trailer or utility trailer or anything like that because to me that kind of looks junky. And hey, yeah, I know the benefits of a dump trailer, makes it easier to unload and everything else. But I wanted to really focus on my branding. So what I did was I got an enclosed trailer, um, because it even I don't have that dump truck or box truck, so I wanted to have a billboard. So having that enclosed trailer gave me the opportunity to create a billboard for my business and actually work on that branding.
Now, how many employees did you start off with? Is it just you? Did you get another employee to
I
work with?
started off with myself. Occasionally, I'd have one of my sons help me out if it was a bigger job. I have, one of my sons that he works in, with a tree company, and I have another son who's a firefighter. And on their days off, if I needed them, they'd come and help me out.
Now, how is it doing it by yourself? Is it, something doable for beginners or, do you recommend coming in with a second person? Like, where would you recommend people to start off with?
If you can to have somebody else to help you, that's the best way. Obviously, labor's cheaper when you do it yourself, but when you're, you know, like me, I have, breathing problems from COVID. I have, a bad back, two bulging discs in my back. It's not the easiest thing to do, but with when you're determined and really wanting to succeed, there's some, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I would suggest getting somebody, even if it's part time, to help you out because some of those big jobs, unless you're a big, strong arm wrestler, who can handle a lot of that, throwing a sofa up over your shoulder, that's, that would be the direction I'd get it, even if it's just somebody part time.
Now, what's your experience been like owning your own company? And, is there anything that you would do different knowing now?
Well, the biggest challenge for me was probably the same challenge that I had on all the other businesses I try to do. I know junk removal inside and out, back and forth, every little aspect of it. Hell, I train a course on, the on-site experience on, how to really take care of customers. But the one thing that my biggest weakness was I know jack shit about marketing. That was one thing that I always had a marketing team behind me to handle that stuff. So I never really had to get into that, branding myself, making sure that I'm out there marketing, what to spend money on, what to not spend money on. I've had so many failures trying everything out, but it never really affected me negatively if I failed at something because to me, failure is just something that's going to make me stronger at what I do. And so that I've dabbled here, I've dabbled there, I've connected with a lot of really good mentors, learning different ways to use that marketing without, obviously I'm in my first year and still growing. I didn't have the funds to go full on Google, ads or anything like that, but you know, I'm learning a lot about marketing. I've learned, there's a lot of great guys in these Facebook groups that I've connected with. You had Ronnie on there talking about SEO. I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot from, Andrew. I've learned a lot of the guys that you've actually already had on here. I've talked to personal in the past, and even a lot of the guys that were taking my on-site experience course actually taught me a few things as well. And Xavier is so knowledgeable. I have conversations with him all the time. It's great that he's going to be at the expo there. We're actually getting just found out from Matt 2 days ago that he's going to give us a vendor booth to work together. So, but Xavier's got so much great knowledge when it comes to that. He has helped me out so much, especially on the commercial end. Just but there's a lot of knowledgeable guys out there, but because to me that was really important, because that was my biggest weakness.
Well, Xavier, if you're listening, I'm going to be contacting you now that I just heard from Kevin Hess, and we're going to have to get you on an interview for sure.
Xavier's got a great backstory too. He's amazing. He is so knowledgeable. He is genuinely one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.